on 1080 The Fan. Joe Fisher here. I got my host, Rashad Taylor, across the faux marble table. I got Jordan Schultz across the glass. How's everybody doing this Sunday morning? It's not 8 a.m.
It's not 8 a.m. So, I'm sound as a pound right now. I don't have a problem.
Dude, hey, I mean, if you're watching the YouTube stream right now, which I hope you are to see our beautiful Sunday morning faces, Rashad's got the icy, clean Mighty Ducks hockey sweater on right now.
Adam Banks, baby.
Adam,
the original cake eater himself, man.
Did you get that at the Adidas store?
I did not.
Okay, because I saw there was a Mighty Ducks jersey floating around there a few months ago.
Yeah, no, I got it online just maybe a couple years ago. So
you probably saved a lot more money than.
Oh, absolutely. It was super cheap too. It's probably not as cheap now, but it was then. But if you're a sports fan, you're listening right now, so you probably saw the movie The Mighty Ducks growing up, and for me,
I hope so. I hope all three.
It changed my life,
there's
bro.
a trilogy there.
Yeah.
Man, it changed my life. Like, I saw that movie in 4th grade, and it was one of those things, like, hockey became a big part of, it sounds weird, but even in, like, my urban neighborhood, like, we all played hockey. Everybody had rollerblades, and my mom bought me a hockey set with 2 goals and everything like that, so... Yeah, it was on in the middle of the street doing.
And Emilio Estevez was the coolest coach around.
Emilio was the best coach ever, but it wasn't until they got Adam Banks to where they start winning games. He was the kid from the Hawks, and I was like, man, he was the best one. Remember in the 3rd movie when they went to the private school, he was the only one that made varsity.
Yeah.
All sorts of hijinks.
Yeah, right.
The pranks.
In the 2nd movie when they were doing the Team USA thing. He was the only one that had scouts coming to watch him. So
was that D2, the Mighty Ducks?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, man, Adam Banks was my guy. I know everybody wants to go with the Charlie Conway.
Yeah, that's what
With the
Adidas
captain.
has
Yeah.
right now. I'm looking at. They got the Charlie Conway.
Yeah, Charlie
96.
Conway. Yeah, that's a
Clean.
good one. But Adam Banks was that dude. So
This does bring up a topic of conversation I was having with my brother-in-law the other day, as far as most comfortable jerseys that you can wear.
Oh,
He
it's
says basketball jerseys are the best lounging.
yeah, 'cause they're like wife beaters. They're like tank tops.
Exactly.
So
Hot
yeah.
summer day, spring day, go out to a function, outdoors,
But-
basketball jersey. And I said close second, soccer kits, like soccer jerseys.
Oh man, those are nice. They're light. They're pretty
Breezy.
soft.
Yep.
But if you're asking me, hockey sweaters are.
I need a good hockey
That's number
sweater.
one. Like, I mean, as far as loungewear, it's kind of, it's like a nice little sweatshirt that, that you can put on. And man, it looks good on your lady too. If she just wants to happen to put your hockey jersey on,
Wearing
it's like,
only this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that, perv, but I mean.
Oh,
I just-
come
but
on. I'm
yes.
going straight
But
Titanic
yes.
with the heart of the ocean on you. Let's go.
I just had the image of Happy Gilmore when the lady comes out
Yeah,
from
you
the,
want breakfast?
from the
Yeah.
You want breakfast?
Yes,
And she's
yeah.
wearing a Boston
So
fruit.
even she looked okay. It was like, man, something about that hockey jersey will, change things up a little bit. It'll turn the 4 to at least a 4.5.
I wanna kiss you all over and over and again.
Till the night goes in.
Yeah. What a great
Oh
movie.
God. Yeah. Now I'm looking at Sharks hockey sweaters because I feel like if I go a hockey sweater, I have to go with my team.
You know what I like to
One
do?
of the worst in the National Hockey League.
And so to avoid that, because I don't necessarily have a team, I guess the Winterhawks are the closest hockey team that I really know the most about, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
haven't
Portland
been to-
Winterhawks.
Yeah, haven't been to games and stuff like that, but I'm a faux jersey guy now.
Like,
I think you guys know how I feel about
Chinese,
jerseys.
like knockoff jersey?
No, like
Okay.
just not actual players, fictional players, much like Adam
don't you have a
Banks.
Bobby Boucher jersey?
I have a Bobby Boucher jersey.
Oh, okay,
There
I
you go.
got you. That is a pretty
So I
sweet line.
it's
of,
a lot of times, or I
clothing
felt
hold.
for a long time like I can't wear another man's name, like just like a
But a
Dame
boy's
jersey.
name, Adam
Huh?
Banks.
Yeah, oh yeah, because guess what? I was in fact a boy when this came out, and
I
on top
too
of that,
once was a boy.
and on top of that, it's not a real player. He's not a real, there's no real stats for Adam Banks, or there's no real Bobby Boucher wasn't really a great, linebacker.
You remember
So,
Bobby Boucher showed up at halftime at the Boy Bimbo?
So so I'm curious, like, which fictional characters,
Yeah.
sports characters, would you be most
Let's.
interested in having
I
that
think this
jersey?
is a great time to do a read. The Vancouver Ford text line,
One more time.
knocking it out of the park.
Almost had to dump that
Great
one.
time to do a read. Mess it up. All texts to the fan are via Vancouver Ford text line. Dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit vancouverford.com. 503-8646-FAN. If you were to get a fictional athlete jersey, what would it be? Because, I just see, oh, God. K9 Air Bud basketball jersey.
No.
That's
a good one.
unrated.
That's a
That's
good one.
right out.
That's a good one.
Right
Nobody's
in.
expecting it.
Right in my closet.
You guys are into it. I'm not. That's stupid. There's nothing in the rules that says a dog can't play basketball.
There's nothing in the rules. And number one,
God.
Air Bud might have been the best athlete of any fictional character. He played soccer. He played basketball. I think he played
Multi-sport athlete.
Yeah, he played everything. There's nobody else. He's like
Yeah.
Ernest P. Worrell
In the-
of
So versatile.
In the fake
Sports.
unicorn world, where no player actually steps up to block a shot that's being held on a tee like a football
Not
ready
by
to
Air
kick.
Bud.
Good God.
not by Air Bud.
Oh, man. Hey.
Sorry, I'm destroying childhood like memories and
Hey,
loves
he's
there,
the
but I don't
first
care.
one to get there, last one to leave. All right. Real gym rat.
Man, absolutely.
Loves peanut butter. I got a list here. Ooh, I've seen this before. The Charleston Chiefs from Slapshot.
Okay.
That's a good one. That's a good hockey sweater.
Yes,
to
it
have.
is.
I was actually just thinking about this whole question and Kevin Costner and For the Love of the Game. I mean, multiple. You could go Bull Durham. You could go For the Love of the Game. Actually, because he's got lovers in both of them. I mean, he's a hottie with a body. The women are lusting after him in either movie. But I'd probably go Bull Durham just because the jersey's better over For the Love of the Game because I hate the Tigers.
Do you see this one on the computer screen? The Milwaukee Beers from basketball.
Basketball, absolutely. The Beers would
Ooh.
be a great jersey just to have, just the whole crew come out in Beers jerseys.
And it says little bitch Scolari on the
Yeah,
back.
yeah. Squeak.
I always see somebody rocking a Monstars jersey every now and
Yeah,
then.
that's
too.
on the list here too.
Yeah.
Toon Scott, the Miami Sharks from Any Given Sunday.
That's a good one. I'm not a big fan of football jerseys,
but that one,
though.
those are boring. It's just
Yeah,
black,
just black
and
with
white.
the-
It doesn't even say Sharks on it.
Yeah.
Give me a dark horse here. Shane Falco
There you
and
go,
I believe
replacements.
it's a Seminoles jersey or
Yep.
a Sentinels jersey. Sorry,
Yeah,
the
Washington
Florida or the
Sentinels.
Washington Sentinels. Yeah.
We got the Dillon Panthers from Friday Night Lights. Give me a Blue Mountain State jersey. How about that?
Yeah, that would be a good one. That
Who's
blue
the
and
backup?
orange.
Alex Moran, I think, is the backup.
That would be those would be two. I'm a big Ted Lasso fan,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure if y'all seen that.
You got
Great show.
that's a soccer kit right
Hey
there.
man, Jamie Tart or Roy Kent, one of those jerseys. would be
Soccer
super
kits
dope.
aren't very comfy though. I mean, if we're
don't
talking
think so?
comfort-
Oh, the jerseys are nice, man.
Well, they're so form fitting. You guys, I don't know. I just got wider shoulders than you.
Hey, you just got to get the right size. Like one of my good friends from when I worked at Bose, he's a huge soccer fan. Whenever I go to the Adidas store, he's like, send me pictures. What jerseys, what kits do they have? And
Send me dirty
Wait a
pictures,
minute.
baby.
and yeah, me just wearing the kits by
exactly.
themselves.
That's kind of what I was going for.
Just the jersey in the fitting room. But yeah, I mean, he's a bigger guy, and he makes sure to let me know. Like, I need XL.
I think
and-
Jordan's going in there trying on mediums and like, damn it, why isn't this fitting the right way?
Actually,
Ugh.
speaking
extra
of
medium.
Speaking of that, did y'all catch the story this week about Jonathan Smith just kind of leaving his gear
At the
his
Goodwill?
OSU gear at the Goodwill in Corvallis, and you
Wow.
could tell Rashad because it had the Jonathan
It
Smith
literally said his name on.
like stitching above the tag in the clothing.
Yeah.
Dude only wore a large. On TV, he looked at least like he was an extra large, and this was like his sweatshirts.
They
I'm
say
just saying,
TV adds 10 pounds.
He's a
so-
shorter guy, though.
yeah, I don't know, man. That upset that he's only a large. Sorry, I was like,
I'm upset
really?
that he
Not
left his
even an
stuff at the
XL?
Goodwill.
Are you? Hey, that's a solid donation
Oh,
right there.
I mean,
Give it
it
to
is,
Goodwill.
but I mean,
What
I
a
mean,
come
I,
up.
gue- I guess somebody's came up majorly.
I'm so mad that I couldn't get my dad one of those. Like, that, my dad is a diehard Beaver fan. He would have loved a Jonathan Smith shirt or a sweatshirt.
I'm sure once that made the rounds, like everybody in Corvallis, students just flocked to that
Oh, they were
Goodwill
there.
and just
I'm
pulled it right off
curious.
the
You know,
shelves.
I haven't heard much, and I'd be curious to know how Oregon State feels right now. That's the one thing I haven't really heard. If this were U of O and if this were Dan Lanning, and he left for and for another program, we would know all about how fans, alumni, and everyone else. For Oregon State, I honestly haven't heard much like fan reaction about Jonathan Smith leaving.
Maybe we do that in the second hour
I'm
because I
with it.
did have something Ducks Beavers related for that second hour. I do
Yeah,
want to
I'm with
read some of these texts though on the Vancouver Ford text line. Icebox, a little Giants Icebox jersey.
Great movie.
That
Yes.
would
Or
be,
even going one more further for Icebox, Spike.
yeah,
A Spike
a
jersey.
Cowboys
Absolutely.
Spike jersey.
I would
yeah.
love that.
Yeah, that would be sick. Spike, give me 20. Holds out his arm
Yeah.
and starts doing the
Spike was 19.
carrying a fridge
Yeah.
out of the moving truck. Are
That
you
fool was
kidding me?
19. Get out of here.
I think I saw JJ Watt. He was on Pat McAfee's show a couple weeks ago, and he was wearing a shirt that said "Call me Icebox," and I was like,
That's pretty dope.
That's
I mean,
sick.
JJ Watt kind of looks like Spike. If you put a gold tooth in the front of him, yeah, he kind of looks like Spike.
Also on the Vancouver text line, give me a Pedro Serrano jersey.
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
That's a
Major
good
league.
one.
Baseball jerseys, criminally underrated.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
they always,
Agreed.
no matter what size you are, baseball jerseys just look cool.
they're pretty damn clean. You can pull
Absolutely.
it off. They look pretty clean. Someone chiming in that Mighty Ducks is solid, but Slapshot is still the greatest hockey movie of all time. I mean, they're for two different crowds. I mean,
They
Mighty
are.
Ducks is literally a Disney movie. Slapshot is about a bunch of degenerates playing hockey in
Did Slap-
Kansas City.
Did Slapshot get a professional team named after them? I don't think so. There you go.
Ricky Vaughn, 99 Indians jersey.
That would be a great one as well.
That's good. That's good.
I'm trying to think.
Gosh.
Man, Henry Rowan-Gardner.
Oh, there you
Chicago Cubs
No,
jersey.
that's
Yes.
another one. That's
Henry
right next to
Rowan
F and
Gardner.
Air. But I'm about to swear on the air about how
don't you say nothing
stupid
bad
that
about
movie
Henry
is.
Rowan-Gardner, man.
God in
Give
heaven.
him the cheese.
No, let's not give him the little squeaky arm cheese. He's like 25 pounds throwing 100 miles an hour next
Killing.
to, of
Cy
all
Young.
people in the bullpen. What was it? Like, oh yeah, Gary Busey. Why would he ever be a baseball player?
Chet Stedman looked like an aging,
God in
mind you.
heaven.
You got to remember, in the 90s and the 80s and stuff, like baseball players they were
Yeah.
28 years old, and these fools looked like they were 40.
And Marv was their pitching coach from Home Alone. So there you go. It's a perfect movie.
Brinkma, that's right.
God in heaven.
Fernfield Timberwolves K9 Airbud. That's the one I want to go with.
I'm telling you, man.
Someone can hook that up.
I'm telling you, everybody's going to know what that is,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's clean. All right, we got stuff to get to. There's things that have been happening in the old sports world. Oregon, they got themselves a quarterback.
Heard.
Hey,
College football is dead as we know it. Get to that a little bit later. A game is making its triumphant return. As you mentioned, I think we need to have a airing of grievances. It's been about a week since the move has been made with Jonathan Smith to Michigan State. So I think we just need to sit around a circle and share our feelings. Rashad, how are you doing? Everything okay?
Kumbaya, my lord.
Hi, my name is Joe. Hi,
Kumbaya.
Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Yeah, it's rough times. We got a Heisman that was handed out. We'll see if we get to that. There's a lot of stuff on my little show prep list that we might or might not get to. Big contract handed out. God only knows what we're going to get into in that second hour. We also got Who Do You Love? And actually, I do have a fun game I want to play with you guys. So, again, don't know if we're going to get to all of it, but should be a good show. And again, it's not 8 a.m., so already off to a great start.
I'm with it.
Well, to defend myself really quickly before we go to break,
Nope,
to Adam
you said it.
Jones, our resident center fielder of baseball listening, or former center fielder listening on the YouTube stream, he says that I look like I just rolled out of bed. I did, okay?
Oh, dude.
I'm recovering from being sick, so shut your mouth.
Hey,
It's just the
sweatshirt.
hat. Usually you just have the hat.
Well, I didn't, yeah, whatever.
Hey, sweatshirt and
even think
this
about it,
hat right now is masking a lot of Sunday out of bed look.
Straight up.
like, You think I took my time to get ready this morning? Hell no. Rolled out of bed, saw the sweatshirt that was on the ground, and I was like, all right, I know my my Chehalem Glen hat will match well with that, and that's
like
a tough.
Tiger Woods in that Chehalem Glen hat.
It's
baby.
it's the tough part about the YouTube stream is
Yeah.
that you do have to be
We have to
somewhat
be,
presentable.
we have to be mindful now. And, me personally, I woke up like this.
Oh, dude,
But-
with the beanie too. I mean, you're
Got stuff to do afterwards, man. So I gotta look the part, I guess.
Yeah, they
Alright.
said they were going to hire a makeup person, but they haven't gotten to that yet for us.
yeah. Well, don't expect that to happen. Get your
This
own.
isn't prime time.
Get your own palette in there and a
Yeah.
mirror. Yeah, make a vanity in there. That's what we'll have to do. All right, let's get to it. Ducks, they found themselves a quarterback. We get to that next. Football Sunday, right here on 1080 The Fan.
Isaac Ropp here, and if you've been struggling with soggy fall
fan.
Football Sunday, Joe Fisher, Rashad Taylor, Jordan Schultz. We had some news yesterday in the college football world in the transfer portal. And the Oregon Ducks, they have their quarterback for next season, and it is Dillon Gabriel from Oklahoma. Started his career at Central Florida, but last 2 years have been in Oklahoma. Last year had an amazing year with them. He has the Hawaii lineage. Marcus approved, I think someone tweeted out yesterday.
I think he did.
There you go. So, I mean, of all the guys that were in the transfer portal, his name was being linked to the Oregon Ducks the most. And it is official. Dillon Gabriel will more than likely be your starting quarterback for the Oregon Ducks in 2024.
I read somewhere that there were like 103 names in the transfer portal this year.
It is.
Yeah, I want to say maybe it could be wrong, it could be more. I don't really know.
And we can, I want to go into that next segment about just the landscape of college football. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of dudes in the transfer portal.
But luckily, Oregon's getting a guy who is a proven commodity.
Yeah.
His first 3 seasons were spent at UCF, 29 touchdowns, 32 touchdowns. He was hurt, the third year. But then goes to Oklahoma, 25 touchdowns, 30 touchdowns. He can do a lot of good things with this Oregon offense. With some of these receivers and some of these weapons that Oregon have, if they can, I'm not sure what year some of these receivers are, but if the next group of receivers is anything like this year's group of Oregon receivers, man, Dillon Gabriel can be another one of those guys in that Heisman conversation.
Well, it will be interesting to see what the Ducks do in that personnel group, because obviously Troy Franklin had a great year. Tez Johnson, I don't know if he has any eligibility left. Jordan, you can maybe help me out with that, or the text
I believe
line.
he does. Yeah, I think he was only a junior. So he
but
should have a year
also
left.
they got a couple guys transferring out in Chris Hudson, who didn't play that much, Josh Delgado, who didn't play that much. So it will be a different looking wide receiver room next week or next year. But you said the most important part is the proven commodity.
Right.
And this is where the college football game is going to the NFL like structure, is that do you want to quote unquote draft a guy and play him right away as a freshman or redshirt freshman and try and develop him and have him go through his lumps and live that season that way? Or if you're in a situation that you feel like you have all the pieces, you just need that guy, the quarterback. And if you know who that is and you've seen what he can do and put it on film against great teams. I mean, hell, that Oklahoma team beat Texas, and where's Texas at? They're in the college football playoff.
Right.
So that's where, I mean, college football is so interesting now. And you look at the transfer portal with all the guys, and it's like, what route do you want to take? I mean, you saw that with Ty Thompson. He put out a pretty cryptic post on Instagram of him walking away, and there's like, he's blurred out and the Oregon helmets are in the foreground, and it's just like, all right, well, he's gone.
Yeah, we get it. We get what you're saying, but
and there's that sense, like, it's like there's part of me that feels bad, because that guy, he went to Oregon, committed, could have transferred last year, didn't, sat, was hoping that this was going to be his chance. And granted, he's a Mario guy, so it's not like Dan is like too linked to him and his future, but that's where you see that. Like, I'm sure there were some Oregon fans out there that wanted to see what Ty Thompson had to prove. I mean, he looked a little bit better this year, but also, if you tell me, do you want Ty Thompson or do you want Dillon Gabriel? I'm taking Gabriel 10 times out of 10.
Oh, I mean, it's kind of impossible not to take Dillon Gabriel. Now, mind you, because Ty Thompson could come out and he could be phenomenal, like Heisman worthy, phenomenal.
The dude was a 5-star.
Yeah, we honestly don't know what he could be.
And we want to talk about guys improving from their freshman year to when they're a senior. Look at Bo Nix. Look at Michael Penix. I mean, and that's the big thing with college football, right? Is like, you get a guy that transfers, he's been developed, or do you want to trust in your process and what you've done with your homegrown guy and be like, no, he's fine. Like, he's getting into his junior year. He's taking his lumps. We believe in him. But then again, what they see in practice, we can't see at all. So,
No.
I mean, when they get to those spring practices and then start getting closer to the season, it's just like, that's where they look at Ty and be like, sorry, bud. We've seen it these last 2.5 years. Like, we got to go with the proven commodity.
I mean, do you think it was that he wasn't playing well in practice, or that you have this guy from Auburn that was pretty good and that's who we're going to go with?
And he beat him out last year. So Ty was like, all right, I'll take it. I'll take last year and this year to develop and learn. And then you get passed up again. Like, I don't blame Ty for leaving.
I'm good. So
but
now you're going to bring in
also-
somebody else who doesn't know the offense, has to learn the offense. I've been right there the entire time, and now you're going to bring in Dylan Gabriel. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and go.
But also, I could see that, like, you know, if the Ducks are wanting to do that, they see their team as ready to win now, and they don't want to take the risk on a unproven commodity in Ty Thompson. Yeah, they love him. Yeah, they thank him for everything he's done and been there, been a team player. But football's about winning.
It is.
And if you want to win in Oregon, if you want to get back to the playoff, if you want to be up there where Washington is right now, you got to stay consistent at the quarterback position.
Well, one of the reasons Oregon has coveted Dylan Gabriel so much in this transfer portal season, if you whatever you want to call it, is because he's so accurate, and he's just he's a quarterback that since his young days at University of Central Florida, he didn't make mistakes. He threw so few interceptions, and I still remember some of the highlights of his like bullet passes, you know, like on top 10s before he even transferred to Oklahoma. So we know how good he is, and we know how he fits into Oregon's offense. And I think Dan Lanning and Will Steiner salivating at basically looking at a Bo Nix 2.0 for next year. Unfortunately, on the other side of the coin, this is where you come to needing to win now, and guys like Ty Thompson suffer. But unfortunately, man, even with the development of last season, Ty Thompson at the beginning of this year, screw it, game 6-7 after he threw a nice couple of bullet touchdowns, I don't think he would have been at the level that Bo Nix was coming in off of Auburn last season. He's not there yet. And sorry, Duck fans, I know that, you know, you feel bad for him. Yes, I do too. You want to see him get a chance. However, sometimes you just ain't that good. And yes, he's a former 5-star recruit. Is he going to get the opportunity somewhere? Yes. Might I eat my words? Absolutely. But we're seeing the same kind of crunch in the wide receiving room too, Joe. And actually, to answer your guys' question, I don't know if like Troy Franklin is staying or not, but it would lead me to believe that they're looking at having a very, very stacked wide receiver room that includes the likes of Franklin next year. If you got Chris Hudson leaving, if you got Ashton Cozart leaving, two very young kids in the portal, or I guess Chris Hudson, not necessarily young. He's got 1 year of eligibility left, but a guy that took snaps under Cristobal and made a significant impact. Now he's gone. So that receiver room's going to be fine, along with this new quarterback that Oregon has. It's just the way of the world now. And you know what? Ty Thompson, I hate to say it, but at this point, you're like a Braxton Burmeister. You're like a guy that was given an opportunity at Oregon, didn't do so great. You looked, you know, maybe okay in a couple of spots in a backup role, but then when you were thrusted as a starter, you looked terrible. And you're going to have a chance to go prove it, but look at Braxton Burmeister. He literally got undrafted, signed by the Rams as a wide receiver in camp, and then let go after transferring to West Virginia, to San Diego State. And I know Ty Thompson's not going to be able to transfer anymore after this, but it's sad. But guess what? Not every 5-star quarterback is going to be elite.
I think that's the thing we have to keep in mind. I think the thing we have to keep in mind is 5 stars, 4 stars is something for high school, right? Among your high school competitors, you are a 5-star player. So against that DB that's 135 pounds, you are a 5-star guy. How many times have guys gotten to college or gotten to the NFL or to the NBA, and that 5-star guy is a utility player? They're just a bench player. They're somebody that, man, coming out of high school, they were the number 1 player in the country. The number 1 player in the country for basketball, Jordan Walsh, is in the G League right now. The G League, you know, and that's just kind of one of those things. Like the same thing for football. Just because you were 5 stars amongst those kids you were playing against, now you're playing in a situation where everybody's good. And then guess what? I was a much better athlete at 19 and 20 than I ever was at 16 and 17. So now you're with people that are getting better, getting older, growing into their bodies.
I mean, dudes that develop and guys that care more than you, possibly.
Absolutely.
I mean,
you know,
look at it's like the Boobie Miles approach. Like, all I got to do is show up. And then you show up to college.
And like, oh, everybody can run.
Yeah.
Everybody's fast. Everybody's this.
I mean, frankly, guys, look at this team that Oregon had this year. They were 6 points away, essentially,
from an undefeated season.
Exactly. And
Don't remind me.
And so what do you want to do? They now have the responsibility because Ty Thompson, has earned the opportunity to hand the program over to him when they're so close to
Yeah.
competing for a national
And
championship.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's bullsh. Come on, let's look at this realistically. I feel bad for the kid, but Oregon is right there, and they will do this every day of the
I don't
week.
think
They
it's-
did it with Vernon Adams 7 years
I
ago.
don't think it's about feeling bad. Like, he's gonna land somewhere, and he's gonna play college football for
Oh,
a major
you should have
D1
seen
program.
after he declared yesterday officially for the transfer portal, Rashad. I mean, it's just Ducks Twitter or football fan Twitter. Oh, Ty, they treated you so badly. No, this is a business. This is what happens when you get NIL.
It's
Next.
competition.
Yeah, I mean, best of luck to him, but I get it, man. Like, I get the situation the Ducks are in. You were that close, and I don't think it was because of a quarterback, but if you want to stay that close and be able to push yourself over the edge, you have to stay consistent at quarterback. I wanted to just look at some of these guys that are in the transfer portal still. Dante Moore, Cam Ward, still trying to find homes, 2 Pac-12 quarterbacks.
You
I
wonder
mean,
if Dante's going to come to Oregon still.
yeah, I don't think so.
He said
not
he'd be
now,
willing to
probably.
develop for a year.
I was listening to Dirt and Spread. Yeah, and I hear you on that. I mean, like, if you want to go develop somewhere, I mean, go to Oregon State, but nobody wants to go there right now. But it was Brandon Huffman was on with Dirt and Sprague, and I appreciate Dirt's optimism about wanting to get Dylan Gabriel and Dante Moore. But it's one, not both of them, is what it
They
sounded
can't
like.
afford both. Or they could, but they don't want to.
Well, you heard Matt Rule. Yeah, you're starting quarterbacks going for
I don't think-
Miller too right now.
Yeah,
so.
and I don't think anybody wants to go to a situation where they're playing backup for sure.
No. So there is your new Oregon quarterback, Dylan Gabriel. We'll see who's going to be the starting quarterback up in Corvallis. Hopefully we won't know that until obviously when the season starts, but we'll see who at least will be given a shot because Aiden Childs, right now, the crystal ball is saying 100% he's going to Michigan State with Jonathan Smith. So hopefully we get some clarification with the Oregon State job here in the next few weeks.
Maybe his clothes will end up in the Bennett Goodwill as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, Beaver fans, I would keep going to that Goodwill in Corvallis quite
They
often
got some gems in there.
over the next couple weeks. Yeah, you're gonna find some great finds. All right, college football is dead as we know it. We get to that next here, Football Sunday. But Jordan Schultz with the Sports Center update.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on the Fan, the Seattle Seahawks back in action this afternoon, hitting the road to face the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners a 14-point favorite in that one. Coverage getting going right here on the Fan following Football Sunday at 11 a.m. Kickoff is at 1:05 p.m. on Fox. In college football, LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels has won the Heisman Trophy. Michael Penix Jr. finishing in second place with Oregon quarterback Bo Nix and Ohio State's Marvin Harrison Jr. finishing in a distant in third and fourth place, I should say, respectively. In other Ducks news, quarterback Ty Thompson has entered the transfer portal a day after former Sooner Dylan Gabriel announced he was transferring to Oregon. And in the NBA, the LA Lakers winning the in-season tournament last night. No games on the slate for today, but the Lakers get it done 123-109. Anthony Davis going off 41 points, 20 rebounds, as well as 4 blocks in the $500,000 win for Los Angeles. And speaking of LA, the Dodgers signing two-way star Shohei Ohtani to a record-setting 10-year, $700 million contract. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schultze from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Wager on pro and college games every week at Spirit Mountain Casino with a sportsbook powered by BetMGM. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required. Portland's sports leader is 1080 The Fan.
Papa Murphy's.
hour that I want to play with the both of you called Bowl or Bowl. Is it a bowl game or is it bowl-less?
Okay, I like it.
Yes.
I do like that one.
It's one of my favorites because every year the bowl games just get more and
Just-
more ridiculous.
They're not even being creative anymore.
Oh boy. Wait until you see some of these bowl games. All I have to ask real quick, though, is there a Bahamas Bowl this year? And there is. Western Kentucky at Old Dominion.
Boo. Like,
Well, I mean,
That sounds about as entertaining as Oregon v. Liberty.
it's
like,
literally...
was there a better place to have a game? Number one, like, man, we
than
get
the
to go
Bahamas?
to the Bahamas.
Oh, trust me.
Like, we get to go to the Bahamas, bro.
Well, I don't
Like,
know. I'd
that's
rather go
good.
to El Paso for the Sun Bowl.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Sorry, Beaver
Yeah.
fans. Hey, the game sold out. The Sun Bowl, though.
In God's country, I'm sure it is.
Well, also, they're playing Notre Dame. So, if you want to wonder why a bowl game sold out with the Beavers, it's because they're playing Notre Dame. That's why. Don't think the Beavers contingency sold that game out.
No, not at all.
So college football is dead. We have found that out. Well, it's been trending that way for the last year or two, a couple years now, longer than that. But this last week has kind of cemented that. I think that we were here live as the college football playoff was being announced. And Alabama got in at 4 over Florida State. And I still can't believe they did that. I understand the reasoning, but it's not right.
No.
A 13-0 undefeated team, you played the games on paper, is what you did as the college football playoff committee. And as I said last week, with that defense that Florida State had, that team can hold Michigan to under 20, under 30 possibly. How do we know? Maybe we should play a game and find out. No, let's put in Alabama, give them the berth a week after they barely beat Auburn on a 4th and 31. Are we forgetting all that? That's one of the things there. The transfer portal is a whole other thing. That is just pure chaos. I mean, you look at the quarterback list. I mean, I love the idea of guys being on teams for years, 4, 5, 6 years. I mean, hell, look at some of these teams in the playoff.
Right.
Michigan, a lot of Michigan-bred dudes that were on the team to begin with.
4 years.
They were saying in that Pac-12 game, they were lamenting Washington. It's they have 13 6-year guys. And I understand the COVID year is throwing things off, and we're going to get past that at a certain point, obviously, as time moves on. But, I mean, building that trust in that group and that, having all those transfers, man, a bunch of dudes from other teams, it's you look at Colorado, you look at USC, yeah, you can bring in all this talent from other schools, but if there's no chemistry, no, friendship, no companionship, I mean, you need that in a team. Dudes growing together over the years, right? And I just think that kills me. And also, how do we have standards for a New Year's 6 bowl game? We have to have a Greater 5 school in. Always have to have a Greater 5 school, regardless of how good, whatever the record is, however good they are, we got to include them in the bowl game in the New Year's 6. It's so there's standards for that, but they're the standards for the college football playoff are just willy-nilly year after year. And so going forward in a 12-team playoff next year, there's going to be a Greater 5 school that gets a berth. That would have been Liberty. Are you kidding me? What are we doing? How can we have stupid standards in one? It is just, this last week has driven me absolutely nuts. And we've seen it also with, how the calendar is shaped. Bowl games don't matter.
No.
Those are, I mean, yeah, the New Year's 6 games matter, but do you think Florida State wants to play that game against Georgia? What is their motivation? It's you beat Georgia. Cool. All right, well, we should have been in the playoff. You lose to Georgia.
First loss of the season. You have the same record as Georgia.
I don't know.
But they're not going to keep the SEC champ out. This is just, I hear you.
No, dude, it's been a very depressing last week and a half for college football. Obviously, the Ducks losing didn't help things at all, but it's outside of that. It's been very wow, this is where we're at. And again, it's maybe naive of me because this is how things have been trending, but I think that the college football playoff, ESPN, the 13-0 leaving Florida. I think that is like the cherry on top of all this.
I mean, I'll go in further. I think it's been a depressing year for college football. I mean, you talk about the disillusion of one of the great college football conferences, of all time since the Pac-8. Now all of a sudden you've taken that completely away to join pretty much not the rival, but kind of, I guess what's considered a rival of sorts in the Big Ten. So then that happens. And then college football has always kind of hung its hat on tradition, on doing things this way, and even during the BCS stuff like that, it was like, but yeah, okay. But that doesn't make sense, but I'll go with it. That's okay. I was saying, there's no way Florida State would have been left out of the BCS standings. If this was still a BCS thing, there was no way they would have been left out. And that's how messed up it is, because we're looking at that like, this for BCS, Florida State would have definitely been in that conversation. But then we're talking about the Heisman. It's coming from a 3-loss team.
Well, and also, what was his Heisman moment?
Who knows?
Obviously that's very arbitrary. It can just be well, you did
Well, Jaden Daniels is still an Arizona State University quarterback as opposed to a Louisiana State University quarterback. Would he win the Heisman this year?
Guess what? In Arizona State, I don't know if you saw that thing, and it doesn't really matter, but when he was clearing out his locker.
When he transferred, they were clearing out his locker. Yeah, they were clearing out his locker for him. He's trash anyways.
But yeah, he's trash anyway. Yeah, you can go. But I mean, because he had 50 touchdowns, that's why they gave him the Heisman. Guess what? There was a quarterback for Hawaii named Colt Brennan who was throwing, rest in peace, who was throwing 50 touchdowns, no problem. He was never a part of the Heisman conversation. Never, ever a part of it.
Because he played for a mediocre team, unfortunately.
But is a mediocre team also a team that has 3 losses on the season? And then you've got a guy in Michael Penix Jr. who was undefeated on the season, and another one who had 2 losses by a total of 6 points in the season. And then obviously Marvin Harrison Jr., best receiver in all of college football at this point. Now, should he probably been third on that list? Yes. I can't remember the last receiver. I think it was.
I don't think he even should have been in New York.
Yeah, the last receiver to win the Heisman was Devontae Smith, right?
Yeah.
And so
that COVID year, yeah.
Yeah, the COVID year, but. I just think college football, and then here you go, the New Year's Six, and like you said, Oregon versus Liberty. What? Who? That was the first thing I said. It was like, wait, who? And I know pretty much every.
No, not
team,
the Liberty Falcons in Hillsboro.
I would rather them play the Liberty Falcons from Hillsboro.
I would not, because every time they got a first down, which was rare, against Sherwood, that's for sure. Am I humble bragging about? Or am I bragging about
a little bit? I don't think it's humble. It's not humble. It doesn't sound humble.
But yeah, they just played a screeching Falcon. That's a first down, Liberty.
Yeah, no thank you.
I'm like, dude, stop this. Yeah. And that was our motivation. I don't want to hear that Falcon.
We don't want to hear that anything. Okay. Yeah, we don't want to hear that anymore. But no, and so I don't care for that game. I don't think I'll be watching that game on New Year's Day. It's. They don't care about the product anymore. It's just about money, and that's what they've continued to show us. If they're going to allow a big five, excuse me, but what's the term? I don't even know.
A power five?
Not power five.
Oh, a greater five. Yeah,
greater five, whatever the hell that means. If they're going to allow a greater 5 team to be a part of the 8-team playoff next year, then so that means another great team that deserves it, that's been playing great competition, is going to be left out. That sounds ridiculous to me. Yeah. But, again, this is no longer about the kids, no longer about the tradition of the schools. They were willing to just go do away with rivalry games. Doesn't really matter in certain regards. It's about money now. And I think we just kind of have to wrap our head around the fact that it's not just about money for the coaches and the programs anymore. Kids are getting paid too now. And so these transfer portals offer opportunities for kids to be in bigger situations with more lights, more donors, more alumni that can kind of line these kids' pockets with a little something. So, I mean, it's a different day in college. It's not the college football we grew up with, fellas. No. And I think we're going to have to learn to live with that as we move forward.
Yeah. The only thing that is constant in life is change, they say.
Yeah.
I will say, though, EA Sports, NCAA football,
Goated.
College football next year, whatever the hell is.
Can't wait.
Have fun with that, dealing with the transfer portal and recruiting, and then you got NIL deals coming through. You know what they need?
Heads are falling off.
Yeah. The buyouts with coaches.
I look forward to it.
Oh man, I can't wait for
I
it.
can't wait.
I'm
Dabo
bitching and moaning
Sweeney's
about
gonna-
the real thing, and I'm like, I can't wait to play the fake thing.
Yeah,
I think
that's gonna
Dabo
be
Sweeney's
awesome.
head's going to explode, which is awesome.
I hope that is a feature
Oh,
of the game.
I want to say this too, man. Shout out to everybody who actually is up and listening, watching this on YouTube right now, man. Sports Sunday, Football Sunday, man. Y'all always support us, man. Shout out to Donnie, my guy Donnie. Shout out to my guy Buddy. You know?
Donnie?
Yeah.
I
Name's
hate-
Don, but I like Donnie.
Don's the worst.
He doesn't know I call him Donnie. I think he does now, but yeah. Donnie. I think Donnie's cool. I guarantee he was a Donnie before he was Don.
Don is a cool name
It is, man.
because it just reminds me of like a big Italian,
Mafia
like, yeah,
kind of guy.
the Don.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, want to lose some money?
Never, but I'll try.
Okay. Well, we'll hypothetically lose money in this next segment because it's Who Do You Love? Let's take a look at the standings. We've taken a couple weeks off because we had our Thanksgiving, and then last week the college football playoff was happening, so we just scrapped it. So let's make some picks. Like
Let's
I
do
said,
it.
let's lose some Monopoly dollars, shall we?
Let's do it.
Next on Football Sunday on 1080 The Fan. All right. Who do you love? Let's take a look. When we were last here doing this, it was week 11. I had those scores up from what happened during that week 11. Rashad, you took the Steelers plus 2.5. And I believe they lost by like 3 that week. Yeah, 13-10 to the Browns. You also took Tampa to cover 13.5 against the 49ers, and they lost by 13.
Exactly 13. Look at that.
That's terrible. That's terrible. And then you took the Jets minus 8.5 over the Bills minus 8.5 over the Jets, and the Bills won 32-6. I remember watching Red Zone that day. Halfway through the second quarter, I'm like, just end this game. I was like, that was
a bad one.
I'm like, oh my God. I had never been more confident in a team never coming back in a game in my life than that Jets game right there. So you went 2-1 that week.
I'll take it.
Brings you to 9-8-1 on the year.
I'll take it.
I took that week Chargers minus 3 against the Packers. Don't know why I did that. Completely wrong. Cowboys 10.5 covering against the Panthers, which they were able to do there. And then the Seahawks plus 2 against the Rams, and they lost by 1 that day. So I was able to get that dub. Jordan, you took Texans minus 5.5. They won by 5.
Yeah, then they lost the next week, too. So both weeks, they just screwed me over.
But, hey, you rolled the dice on that Raiders plus 14.5, and they only lost by 7 against the Dolphins.
That was a good one.
And then you took the Thunder to beat the Blazers, minus 6.5. They crushed them, covered that. Brings you to 7-11. 7-11.
I guess that's better than my record on primetime.
Yes.
Because Ropping the Bank, I think I'm like 2-7, 2-8. It's
But how many units do you have?
Oh,
Are you
not
up on
nearly
units?
enough. My unit's too small, all right? I don't want to talk about it.
Rashad and me are now tied at 9-8-1, though.
There you go.
How about that? I'll start things off for this week. I am going to the NFC South. And I'm going with the Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta is a 2-point favorite. I do not care. The Buccaneers are much better than I anticipated this year. I'm pretty sure I had them at like 3-14 as their record. But the Falcons, I don't trust them. Like, I don't get how they're 6-6 at this point in the season. I know it's a home game for Atlanta, but that's not a far travel. Buccaneers have been playing not bad as of late. They started off, I mean, they were 3-1, and then they lost 4 straight games. But they got a win over the Panthers last week, almost beat the Colts 2 weeks ago. I just don't think the Falcons are nearly as good as what Vegas is giving them. Don't care if it's a home game. Give me the road dog, Tampa Bay. And plus, this is classic NFC South. Right? Beat up on each other. Someone gets in with an 8-9 record. The Falcons right now, if they win today, that puts them up, I think, 2 games in first. Don't buy it. Not at this point in the season.
No.
Buccaneers covering the 2.
I have the really surprising Houston Texans visiting the not surprised at all New York Jets. And I mean, yeah, the Jets are not a great team. I think the spread is, I think
3.
Houston's favored by 3.
Yep.
I'm taking Houston. I'm taking that spread. Like Houston's last 4 wins, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, 5 points.
Right.
So I think 3 sounds just about on par for what they've been doing for most of the season. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Houston.
And this is in New York.
In New York.
And I don't think weather's very good in the Northeast right now. In Baltimore, it's an absolute mess. Jordan.
No.
Coming to me, huh?
Yes.
Let's go with my morning game. I know Cleveland's defense is super good here, but I'm going to go Jacksonville.
All right.
I think this is definitely a risky play, but let's go Jacksonville, not to cover, but straight money line.
Just straight up. Hey, I like that.
There's a
Trevor
couple-
Lawrence is playing.
Exactly. There's a couple of extra bucks, and it was just a sprained ankle last week, as bad as that injury looked. I mean, he practiced pretty quickly. So I'm confident. Yeah, once again, I know the Browns' defense is good. Their offense has been on and off, obviously, with or without Deshaun Watson or DTR. Or DTR is under center for them, right? It's not PJ Walker anymore.
I believe, well, it sure as hell should be.
So, yeah. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, which, let's see, on Bovada, that line is plus 125. I like that better than the minus 105 to cover 2.5. So, yeah, Jacksonville straight up.
That's going to be an ugly game. The over-under is set at 37.5. And it's raining over in Cleveland. This is exactly the type of game that the Browns want, though. Muck it
ETN's
up.
back too, baby.
Keep the score low. How the Browns are 7-5, though? Another team. How?
Right.
How?
Hanging around.
Yes.
Hanging around.
Texans -3. I had that on my list as well, Rashad. I really like that. They're going back to Zach Wilson in New York after he basically said that he didn't want to start. I mean, those were the reports that were coming out. I think they were refuted, but hey, there's part of me that, like, I hear Zach Wilson saying, like, I don't know if I want to play for you guys again, like, and be thrusted in as the starter. Like, dude, it's been bad. It's been ugly. It hasn't been great. But also, you are in the most competitive professional league in football there is, where guys are dying to be there. The competitiveness, like, that fire in the like, you don't want to play?
No,
if
I don't want to play for you guys.
And I get that.
That's what that is.
At that point, listen, this season can't go any worse than it is. So if I heard that from a player, I would just cut him. Like, you don't want to play? Like, I'm trying to give you an opportunity, and I understand what the track record is, but
Are they, though? I think the Jets have done
I think it's more so like,
great
look,
job.
I don't know what else to do.
I think the Jets and New York media have done a great job of killing his confidence.
well,
100%. I think, and Micah Parsons even went on his podcast
He
on
said
Bleacher
that,
Report and
yeah.
said something similar. Like,
It's
so
gone,
that's
yeah.
what New York media will do. That's exactly what they've done to that young man.
Well, and
Texans -3, though. Yeah, I'm taking that.
I can't find myself agreeing with Aaron Rodgers very often, but when he says, like, who the hell is leaking this crap from our organization, I agree. And it is those kinds of sources that really are the bane of our existence, not only as sports fans, but I think in general in the world. The kinds of people that leak that crap, like, F you. Like, go to hell. You go to the top of Volcano and jump in. We don't need to
jeez.
hear from you. Like, why are you working for that team? Like, listen, I get it. I'm a glass half empty guy, but, like, that kind of negativity, it just is not needed. Get the hell out of here.
I mean,
Especially if you're
I
going
think
outside of your organization. You handle that stuff in-house.
I think it depends on the organization. There's a reason we don't hear a lot of things from the Chiefs. There's a reason we don't hear a lot of things from the really well-run organizations around sports, because they don't allow things like that to leak. But
Yeah, like
it's
the
always
Steelers,
it's
the
always
leaks,
the
yeah.
teams that are very unstable that have the leaks. But my next pick is the Lions visiting the Bears. The Bears are not a great team, and they lose really bad in a lot of the games. The Lions, however, since the first 5 games of the season, were 5 of the 6 games they were clobbering people. Like, it wasn't really close. They were running
They've
away
had
with
a
wins.
few interesting weeks lately.
Last few weeks, they've been kind of squeaking by. And so this 3-point spread that's been, given in favor of the Lions sounds about right. So I'm taking that 3 points.
I'm going to have to go with another 10 a.m. game here, and that would be the Nolans Saints over the Carolina Panthers. That's a pretty tasty one. Panthers are terrible.
For what it matters, Derek Carr's playing, so
Exactly.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I mean, I
Let's move that line to 2.
I consider it good because the Panthers still can't score regardless of who is on the other team. So I think that the Saints have enough weapons. And hey, guys, Derek Carr is a decent quarterback, all right? He hasn't had the best year, but that may not be his fault. First year, new system, new head coach. He was literally pushed out of Vegas because Josh McDaniels is an idiot. So, no, I say Saints to cover the 5.5 points at home against Carolina. It's too small of a line. They're going to win by 2 touchdowns.
Saints, 11th best offense in the NFL.
It's so strange to say, but since Alvin Kamara's been back, it's been, they've been different in points.
Chris Olave is a dude as
He's
well.
really- he's one of
Those
them
weapons,
dudes.
baby.
All right, my last one. Oh, God, this was a tough one for me. And actually, I don't know why I put this one because I'm changing it right now. I wanted to go Ravens -7.5. I really did. But it is raining. It is ugly out in Baltimore. I don't know how much passing is going to be available out there. Ravens are coming off of a bye week as well. The Rams' emotional win over the Colts where they had to pull it out late, and they got to go across the country to the Ravens. So that 7.5 looks tasty, but I'm not doing it because I'm going my Cowboys covering the 3.5
The boys.
against the
You're doing
Eagles tonight on Sunday Night Football, baby. Cowboys are unstoppable
The
at
boys.
home. They just won a shootout against the Seahawks. What do you need when you're in a shootout, Rashad? We talked about it in the commercial break.
Shooters.
And that is who Dak Prescott is right now. He is playing amazing football. Jalen Hurts and that offense outgained 5 straight games. They are not in a good spot right now. It's not that you just lost to the 49ers. You got embarrassed just like the Cowboys did. So to me, you're on an even playing field. You're going to Dallas. Dallas is on one right now. They're feeling themselves, and I think they're pissed after losing to Philadelphia earlier in the season. They played better than them, feel like they had the chance. They're not going to let this one slip. I think that they're winning by at least 10. Give me 3.5 Cowboys.
I guess I'm taking the same ones. This is exactly what I was going to have. However, I'm taking Philadelphia in points only because here's why. I think they came off of a devastating loss last week. Like that, the 49er fans felt great. Bang, bang. That's all you saw all through your timeline because they absolutely smashed that. That didn't look like the same Eagles team that we've been used to seeing all season. Like even the loss that they had to the Jets was a better game, a better effort than what they showed against the 49ers. I think they've got something to prove, and I think they're going to come out and prove it big in Dallas today.
And Jordan.
Yeah, really quickly, my last pick is another 10 a.m. game, so get it in if you can. Lions, I'm buying. It depends on what book you're looking at. Bovada had it at 3 points to start the game, so I think you can now place a live bet if you'd like. But I'm going Detroit, buying a 0.5 point down to 2.5. I like that line a lot at 2.5 for Detroit on the road against Chicago. So Lions to win, but buying a 0.5 point by 2.5. So that'll put your betting money down to like minus 125, somewhere around there. But that's my heavy unit play today for you guys.
All right. Big units there. Football. It's starting. 10 a.m. games. Red Zone. Turn on Red Zone on the TV, but turn the volume down and keep us going because we got hour number 2. The Civil War is back. We also got Bowl coming up. Plenty of other stuff. Hour number 2. Jordan Schultz, Rashad Taylor, Joe Fisher, right here. Football Sunday, 1080 The Fan. Cup got ironed out and figured out a couple of weeks ago, I think that was writing on the wall that, like, yep, egos will be put aside. And quite frankly, this is a win for college football. I know that we said that college football is dead as we know it like less than an hour ago, but hey, this is something that needed to be done. And
Yes.
honestly, Scott Van Pelt, he said it perfectly. He actually, I don't know if it was the day after it was announced or Tuesday, but on his show, it was, he does the best thing I saw today. And he mentioned, like, in this craziness world of college football, having this game and having these traditional matchups, like, that is gonna be the one thing that brings us back always, is having these games and these moments. Like, thank God that Oregon plays Washington still every year too, because that's a rivalry game that has been played for a long time. But the Civil War, it's gonna be fun, man, because now the whole, little brother mentality is amped up even more. And so if the years that Oregon State are gonna get those wins, if that happens, it's gonna feel even more. There's going to be more vindication for Oregon
100%.
State and their fan base when they get those wins. Now, it might be in 10, 20 years when that first win happens, but
I don't know. Y'all said that last year, but it's one of those things. Sorry, Duck fan, but no, I think it's an amazing thing to have happen. If nothing else, if there's one game I'm going to watch all year, if I don't watch a lot of college football, it's going to be the Civil War. Right after Thanksgiving, like that's all. It's almost become almost like a New Year's Six kind of,
unlike any other.
almost like the New Year's Six. Like I understand, like the day of New Year's Day, I've got a bowl of gumbo and I've got some football in front of me. Right? I know
Sounds good.
on the Friday of after Thanksgiving, on Black Friday, I'm gonna have a
Ducks
nice
and
turkey
Beavers.
sandwich and I'm gonna have Ducks and Beavers on the TV.
Now, granted, it'll be a little bit different because this game, I believe, is going to be played on like September 7th.
Yeah,
Dumb.
it's gonna be a
Or something
sunny
like
one
that.
now.
Dumb.
No rain, no gross Autzen or
And that's-
Reeser,
Hey,
none of that.
The Platypus Bowl, and that's why it's great because it's cold, it's wet, it's the two.
It's
two things
quintessential
that-
Oregon football.
It's the end of the year, like what I'm saying. It's a real football game.
But let's be
those
real.
elements.
Early September in Oregon absolutely slaps, and the weather.
Early
and
September in Corvallis won't be bad either.
It's
so
it is. If you're gonna move it anywhere, thank you for moving it to the beginning of the season when the weather is just absolutely primo.
So what are we supposed to watch on Black Friday now? And that whole weekend.
Well, I think that might be
question.
that might be the Oregon Washington week now.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't
Because
looked at
technically
the
it's would
schedule
still
again
because
since
it
they
would still
announced
be
it.
rivalry weekend, right? So we're
Yeah.
still because everybody Michigan's still playing Michigan State that weekend.
It's like half
and-
the rivalries that were going away, but yeah, they are still.
Half the
happening in some
rivalries for the
spots.
Pac-12 are going away.
Let's see.
Well,
here.
no, because they. I know that like Oklahoma and Texas are going to the SEC after this season,
But
so-
they'll still play each other in that game.
Okay, fair.
So,
So looking at the schedule, that game, Oregon Washington, it is played on the Thanksgiving weekend. It's not on Black Friday though. It will be
Okay.
on Saturday,
Saturday. That's
November
fine.
30th.
Actually,
That's fine.
that's kind of nice. 'cause,
Yeah, I like
Black
that.
Friday traffic this year. I love the Civil War, but that was, man, trying
you
to
were there.
drive
That's
down
right.
past Woodburn on a Black Friday morning
buddy.
to go to Autzen Stadium.
That's why
Yeah,
you take the
no
old
thanks.
Newburgh route, like Joe Fish. You hit that those back roads, and then you pop out in South Salem, and bam, you're right there.
You can
Yeah.
sneak through St. Paul too. Actually, that's what I did.
That's-
kinda
yeah,
behind
that's-
Woodburn, but that was
Newburgh, St. Paul back roads. You get that fresh smell of cabbage fields. Oh, it's just
Ooh.
wonderful.
There's this one road kind of
Backwoods
like
Oregon.
going towards Monmouth, actually through Monmouth. It's one road,
Mhm.
no turn, go straight. It'll take you to both Oregon State and Oregon. No
yes, you are
It's
correct.
at
My dad mentioned that.
99.
Yep.
99E.
problem. 99
yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad that the game's back. It is one thing. Like again, looking
I'll
at this
take
Oregon schedule, it's a lot of teams that your Purdue, your Illinois, your Maryland. Like meh. Like again, the tradition's lacking in some of those.
This was the first game I ever went to
Wait.
when I was
There you
6 years old.
Indiana Jones?
Yeah, it already came out last year.
He's still alive.
Yes, yeah, they had to CGI him down, but oh no, they're like age-wise.
I don't know. Maybe
they
they kill him off in this one. They're
They
like,
should.
we can't keep
Like, I
doing
mean, come
this.
on. Indiana Jones' old ass is not making it through any more caves and temples or anything like that.
Oh,
at
Harrison,
all.
we just gotta call it at this point, okay? We're about done. All right, Civil War is back, but a coach will not be back on the sidelines for Oregon State. Jonathan Smith going to Michigan State. This happened, I think, either the day after our show or either later that day and Sunday, the Jonathan Smith news was announced, and we haven't been able to react to it, so we will do that. You can text into the Vancouver Ford text line, especially you Beaver fans. You can let us know how you really feel about this, because I have a feeling of what you're thinking and the emotions you have right now, but curious. 503-8646-FAN. Jonathan Smith, the new head coach at Michigan State. Get to that next on Football Sunday on 1080 The Fan.
'Twas the week before Christmas, and I'm driving around, shopping for family all over town, when someone stops short ahead of me and my friend, then crash, someone smashes my rear end. Apparently, this jerk can't drive in the rain in his truck. Now my back is hurt, and I'm missing work. Like, seriously, what the heck? I'm George McCoy from Warren Allen, Attorneys at Law. A car accident around the holidays can be especially stressful. Let me and my team take on the insurance company so you can focus on the things that matter most. Call me or go to warrenallen.com.
Television sales on Black Friday
Wait a minute. Did you say AJ McCord?
Didn't have hot
mean-
pickleball talk on my bingo card today.
I mean, I want to know how long she had to study to get like all the pickleball terminology.
Probably like a day.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
couple
not
hours.
even.
Not much.
It's like calling a
She reviewed it
cornhole
on the
game. And I'm
phone
not trying to
on the
knock
plane.
AJ, but this is a very simple, like almost Sunday kind of sport, right? This is like softball-esque, like on the beer fields, right?
And it's destabilizing our country. It's
I would-
destabilizing it. I have the numbers. I have the proof. And do you see this graph, Rashad? Injuries for people over the age of 60 and 70 have skyrocketed over the
Oh,
last few years
I can
because
imagine.
of pickleball.
because you're 60 and 70 and
Yeah.
playing pickleball trying to cut.
New report from UBS says that in addition to competing with kids and tennis players for valuable public park players, picklers are contributing to higher healthcare utilization rates.
It's ruining our country.
Yeah.
My conspiracy, my
Costing
tinfoil
you
hat
money.
is Russia made pickleball popular in the U.S. Just as another distraction to take our attention away from what really matters. And look at it. Now we got pickleball on ESPN. You did it, Russia.
Well, there you go. Congratulations, man. I would actually go for a beer league on TV. That seems like it'd be fun. Softball league, some
Put it on YouTube.
Put on some
Twitch.
mush ball.
That is how ESPN started back in the day. It was a lot of softball, Australian rules football,
Yeah.
but then 90s, 2000s, it wasn't pickleball, it was like bowling.
Yeah, put
and
on
you
some
guys
mush
remember
ball.
ESPN2 used to have the strongest man in the world competitions
Dude,
playing on
give me
I used to
that.
watch it all the time.
Yeah.
Uh,
I would say even bowling is more entertaining than pickleball. Sorry, but yeah.
I like the celebrity bowling league that they have. That's
Yeah.
fun sometime.
Yeah, egregious. The fact that pickleball has had the
Shout
rise to prominence, cannot believe it. But hey,
out, shout out to AJ showing
Yeah.
your versatility.
It
That's
is-
a job.
It is a funny follow-up NFL Sunday Countdown on ESPN, then leading into pickleball.
And switch over to ESPN2 to watch pickleball.
yeah, exactly. It's like,
Oh no, you don't even have to switch, dude. You're on ESPN's NFL Countdown right into pickleball.
I'll say this, and just speaking of ESPN2, last night I was watching the in-season tournament championship game, which Tyrese Halliburton he's different. He's real. I love him. I love watching him play. But on ESPN2, Kevin Hart had like a
bowling thing,
no, it was like he was watching the game, but they were just kind of broadcasting. They're almost like the Manning cast,
like a
or anything
simulcast.
like that.
Yeah, do
simulcast.
that on ESPN, like
Man,
right now.
That was
Great
awesome.
point.
So funny. Listening, he and Stephen A. Smith's, back and forth. Richard Jefferson might be the funniest person, on television.
He's good.
right now.
Oh, he's a great
so funny.
commentator.
So yeah, he's awesome. So
Him and JJ Redick have taken the NBA like kind of commentating the
Oh,
world by storm.
Yeah, JJ does have some stupid takes sometimes.
Agreed.
But I mean, who
I think he's
doesn't?
on point for the most part. Sometimes he'll say something off the wall, but most of the time,
He's got that
he's
old
pretty
man
good.
in the 3 podcast that's been doing good.
the best podcast. If you haven't heard it, if you haven't listened to him,
Can I guess?
go ahead.
Is it Chad Ochocinco and Shannon Sharp?
It is not, but they are.
That-
Shannon
it's up
Sharp
there.
says some wild stuff on there from time to time. Like, yo, Unc, chill, man. Like,
Oh my
you can't. I
God.
don't think you can say that.
Yeah.
right now.
They were talking about an orgy that they had once upon a time.
Not
on that
surprised.
show.
Oh,
Like,
Sounds
I don't know
like
if
it.
Shannon was involved. I think it was Ocho Cinco and another former wideout. But
Yeah, but Jeff Teague tells
Oh,
the
yeah.
absolutely
He's got some good stories. Yeah.
best stories, the absolute best stories, man. If you get a chance to go listen to Jeff Teague's podcast, like there are a lot of guys that are, talking about how cold they are, and like Pat Bev really thinks that he's super, super cold in the NBA. Like Jeff Teague is under he knows what he was, and he knows what his place was in basketball. If you listen to that full stories, they will crack you up, every single one of them, man. So a lot of good listens out there for sports.
Listen, we were laughing, we were having a good time there. I feel bad that we got to bring it down.
Yeah,
with this
bring it back,
Jonathan
bring it-
Smith
yeah.
stuff.
Now we're gonna get real with y'all.
Sorry about that.
Oh, we got to be
Um,
sad for Beaver fans.
Yeah, and I got my timeline totally all effed up. I mean, that Civil War weekend happened, came and went. We didn't have our show, and you guys are right. That news with Jonathan Smith got announced like right after the game, basically before.
It was like the next morning.
Yeah, I think it was
you wake
it
up
was
6
Sunday
a.m.
morning. Yeah,
Saturday morning, 6 a.m. You're like, oh my God, what the hell's going on?
So my initial reaction to that news, because as we were driving down to the Civil War game, we were talking about it, and I said, look, like he was asked about it earlier in the week about his agent going and talking to teams, and Jonathan Smith was pretty candid. Like, I hope that's what he's doing. That's kind of what he's paid for. He's my agent, find opportunities and see if there's better opportunities out there. And if there is, great. If not, we keep rolling with what we're doing. So I think that is, again, very candid, very honest answer. And I think that is what a lot of college football coaches believe, right? It's like, dude, keep your eye out, right? Like, always ready for that next move unless you're at an Ohio State, an Alabama, Georgia, something like that. Like, can't get much better than that unless you're going to the NFL. And then the news broke that he was leaving, and some of the quotes are coming out from Jonathan Smith. And I always respected Jonathan Smith just as, you know, a man, being short, being kind of soft-spoken, and he seemed very upfront, very honest, and, you know, like chose his words wisely, it seemed like. Didn't really like being in front of the cameras too much. But, man, some of the quotes that were coming out of it, like I didn't want to abandon a city or abandon a team. I wanted to go somewhere. Like, what the hell does that mean? And then the damning one of all, no pun intended, is when he said that this was like in the works for a while now. And this was something that had been thought about and been talking about. And so personally, you know, you look at the Civil War game and you're like, oh, well, yeah, the guys weren't motivated. They probably knew that news. I say, I don't care. That's a rivalry game. You still got to get up for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I know when that happened with Oregon and Utah in the Pac-12 championship game, it's like the same thing happened. Like, this team knows that they aren't going to have their coach. Still, get up for the game. Like, whether he's going to be there or not, you still have a job to do, and especially in a rivalry game.
Right.
Oregon State and granted, we're getting more, but, you know, that could have been the very last one. That's how you go out?
So as I'm reading through,
it was discouraging. But again, back to Jonathan Smith, very, very eye-opening. Like,
Right.
you know, it was one of those like, damn, yeah, college coaches, they're all the same. You know, college coaches are the biggest liars in the history of history.
off top.
Off
top. They will lie straight to your face.
Oh God,
Yeah,
like
Willie Taggart, man, I'm not interested in Florida
I am
State.
not
I'm
interested
here.
in a job
I'm
at
here.
Alabama.
I'm not going to Miami.
Nick
like, I know
Saban.
you heard that I was going to do that, but guess what, guys? I'm committed. I'm 10 toes down.
So
I'm winning championships.
I hate to say like, oh, I thought Jonathan Smith was different. Like, but really, I thought he was. You know, I mean, that's your alma mater, dude.
It is. And I'm sitting here and I'm kind of going through Oregon Live and some tweets from fans, and one of those tweets is from one Joe Fisher III.
Oh, how about
I
that?
don't know, you know if you knew that or not, but you know, worst 24-hour stretch in Oregon State history. So this is a kick in the balls. This came literally hours after you just lost a game to your rival.
Yeah,
hours. If this came on Sunday, it'd have been like, okay, he has some time to think about it. He has some. Friday games happens Friday. Saturday morning, we wake up to find out Jonathan Smith is gone. That sucks. Like that's a slap in the face, a kick in the balls, throwing, you know, putting some lemon
Salt
juice in the
Lemon
wound. Like, yeah, razor
lemon
blades
juice
and lemon
and
juice.
salt.
Razor blades and lemon juice is what it felt like, man. And so
I think Beaver fans still thought of him as the walk-on quarterback as opposed to an up-and-coming college football coach candidate, which, sorry, guys, he's not the 20-year-old anymore fighting for his spot on the roster. He is a man making, you know, $5-6 million a year, providing for his family,
and
looking...
This is a business, and
looking at
you know, college
career-
football more than any other sport is about brands. And Oregon has been fortunate enough over these past like 2 decades to really build a brand. You know, something great. But then there's these college football programs that have been brands for decades, century. You know, in some cases, you know, for some of these schools. So I always tip my cap to somebody taking a job that's going to help them. Kind of reach whatever goal they feel like they could reach. You know, remember we talk about college coaches. What was old former Ohio State coach?
Jim Tressel?
Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer. Nobody thought anything of him when he was just a Utah coach.
Yeah,
When he was just, you know, and then he had a
climbed
couple
up the
great
ranks,
seasons.
Alex Smith and that.
Yeah,
what,
and then
11
okay,
in 1 year or whatever.
and then let me go to Florida, and I win a couple national championships there. Let me go to Ohio State and win a national championship. Now we look at him as one of the greatest. Like, you have to have, you know, some type of ladder to climb. And this might be, you know, Oregon State was probably just the first rung on Jonathan Smith's ladder to being a phenomenal coach. So I'm going to give him the room to do that.
Well, maybe, and I'm not trying to knock Jonathan Smith. Maybe Beavers fans didn't expect him to be as good of a coach either. They kind of thought he was going to be like the Mike Riley. He's going to be here 15, 20 years. It's his lifelong dream to be here. And no, he's actually really good. He got you rebuilt in 5 years.
And we've
now
gotten so
you're-
used to our coaches here in the Northwest staying for multiple. Bellotti stayed at Oregon, for some years. Mike Riley, some years, at Oregon. Dennis Erickson had a few years. So you're used to seeing, certain guys around. And now it's kind of like it's almost like a revolving door of, especially for Oregon coaches, a revolving door of new coaches. Oregon State's this is their third coach since Mike Riley? Second coach. Third coach.
Gary Anderson.
They'll be Gary
third coach.
Anderson. Now, they'll be on the third coach now since Mike Riley left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a good comment I saw about that Goodwill close from Jonathan Smith.
Oh, yeah,
ended up at
being left in Corvallis,
Yeah, and someone said like, "Oh well, I'm surprised that there isn't a hole in the back."
from
Being stabbed there.
Backstabbing, yeah.
from being stabbed.
Well,
Ah,
granted, it was
cool.
Jonathan Smith's. Actually, now let me rephrase that. He's like, "Wow, this is about the best beaver gear you're gonna get because all the rest of the beaver gear has a giant hole in the back." Yeah. So, yeah, I think that was the one thing I was saying to my buddy when we were on the way to the game is just like that, like the alma mater aspect, like that is your team, your school. Like that was the one part that was kind of holding. Like I had some like faith held out that, the allegiance, that loyalty would win out in the end.
Okay.
Like, and he went to Michigan State.
I mean,
Great job.
I guess it wasn't.
I guess
They were in the
but,
college
like,
football playoff in what, 2014 or
Yeah.
15? I mean, they have they're in the Big Ten. They have the resources of an SEC-like program. I'm sorry, guys. Coach
Wasn't
Prime
Iowa.
put it beautifully when he left Jackson State. He said, "You're either moving up in this business or you're getting fired." You guys put it perfectly as well a couple seconds ago. There are very few coaches that are staying at their same spots for 15, 20 years. That's unfortunately now that's like a Rice or a Tulane or a, Louisiana Lafayette Ragin' Cajun type of job. That's no longer in Oregon. That's no longer even in Oregon State. These are, I would say Oregon is now hopefully one of the top 10 jobs in the college football ranks finally, but Oregon State, it's still a stepping stone, as crappy as that is to hear.
And I think depending on the school, depending on the coach, so is Oregon. I mean,
Nah.
if we're being honest, I'm saying
I would
we're,
disagree.
We're saying again, if we're being honest, like we've been burned. If you're an Oregon fan,
Well, look
two
how
of the
well it's
last
gone
three
for
coaches for
look it up.
people that are looking for bigger brand names.
And
I'm
it's
not
gone
saying.
horribly for them.
And again, Dan Lanning had an opportunity to go to Texas A&M and said no because again, Texas A&M isn't a bigger brand than the Oregon Ducks.
Neither is Miami. Sorry.
It's still the U.
When's the last
Like, I
time
get
they
it.
were even in the college football
I
playoff?
get it.
Oh, never!
Dude, I get it. Hey, I get it. Rashad, I'll push back on you because Oregon has done has created a national brand, a national presence
Absolutely.
to where, and you look at their top 10 recruiting again this year. Like what Oregon has done is built themselves up, and you just need to continue doing that because Dan Lanning said, he's like, if you're not here, you don't understand. Like we got what we need here. Like we have what we can compete. It's just you have to find that person who gives an F about Oregon, the program. And Mario, listen, I get why he did what he did, but he clearly did not love Oregon as much as the next opportunity.
And
Willie Taggart did not love Oregon as much as the next opportunity. Dan Lanning, again, going back on the college football coaches being the biggest liars in the world, his statement about staying at Oregon, that is one of the most matter-of-fact statements a college football coach has made about his job and his current position in a long time. It wasn't a matter of he didn't give you a couple sentences. The dude went off. He had multiple reasons as to why he loves staying here at Oregon and being the coach here. But I get it.
No,
I mean, the track record has shown
and I
coaches
just-
have been here and then they're
again,
I'm out of here.
And I think there's a difference between Oregon State's stepping stone and Oregon's. Like Oregon State, the next biggest school you're going to go to is Michigan State. And that's a great program. Don't get me wrong. But there's no Oregon coach that's going to go coach at Michigan State, right? Because that's Michigan State.
It's a lateral
comparable.
move.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lateral move. However, like we mentioned, Ohio State, you can't lose to Michigan 3 years in a row. So if they're looking for a new coach and they say, hey, Dan Lanning, come coach at Oregon State or come coach at Ohio State, you'd be crazy for not having that conversation because there are some brands that are just bigger.
That's true. All right, bowl season. Let's play a fun game called Bowl or Bowl.
I love it.
Is it a bowl game
Did you just make that up?
or is it Bowl Ass? This morning.
That's
As
awesome.
a matter of fact,
Look at you.
looked myself in the mirror and said, all right, Joe.
That's why you
Let's
make
have
the
a
big
great
bucks, bro.
show.
Bull or bull.
And let's talk about the most ridiculous sponsors, bowl game names there are, because I haven't looked at the bowl games and what they are since this morning. Like, that was the first time I looked at what the names are and everything. So it's intriguing. It's another year of just pure chaos. So we get to that next. But first, Jordan Schultz, SportsCenter update.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Seattle Seahawks back in action this afternoon, hitting the road to face the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners a 14-point favorite. Geno Smith a game-time decision. Coverage getting going right here on The Fan following Football Sunday at 11 a.m. Kickoff at 1:05 p.m. on Fox. In college football, LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels winning the Heisman Trophy. Michael Penix Jr. finishing in second. Oregon quarterback Bo Nix in third. And another Duck News, quarterback Ty Thompson entering the transfer portal a day after former Sooner Dylan Gabriel announcing he was transferring to Oregon. Also, the Dodgers signing Shohei Ohtani, two-way star, to a record-setting 10-year, $700 million contract. Quick check of the NFL scoreboard before we get out of here. Looks like the Bucs have jumped to an early 10-3 lead over the Falcons. The second quarter just getting going there. Just about to end the first quarter. Bears over the Lions 10-0. End of the first. Bengals beating the Colts 7-0. Browns over the Jags 7-0 as well. And it looks like the Rams lead the Ravens right now. A minute to go in the first quarter right now, 3-0. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Schulte from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Wager on all pro and college games every week at Spirit Mountain Casino with a sports book powered by BetMGM. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Tired of getting dinged by subscriptions? We won't send you a bill. Fan.
All right, boys, it is officially bowl season.
Hey, I saw my dad on TV. I'm just kidding. I thought it's a pickleball game. Guy looked like my dad. He's like 56, running around in an athletic headband.
And the ACL is tore.
Yeah, they're gonna need a lot of ice and icy hot if this is over.
Yeah, for real.
Some ibuprofen.
Geriatric athletics here on ESPN today.
Can you imagine the blood-curdling screams coming out of the Lake Oswego public parks from 60, 70-year-olds
This lady has
trying
an
to play
ARP shirt
pickleball
on.
and just tearing their Achilles every week?
My hip!
Yeah,
No!
seriously. I'm dying.
Look at
Actually-
the power behind that backhand.
Hey, in due time, fellas, we will be there soon enough.
Probably sounds like a lot like Danny Meringue's house. A lot of pulled muscles and strained ligaments there.
Well, it just depends on if his team lost, and
fair.
then a hammy injury
Well,
shows
and-
up.
In all due respect to Danny, I must admit that I did pull my own calf when the Mariners lost to Jordan Alvarez and the
Jesus.
Houston Astros against the
Can I get an
against them in the
inversion table
ALCS.
or something in here? Something to do some stretching.
We
some,
really need like a
some
massage
bands
table in
or
here.
God.
We really need one. That'd be good.
Pull together. All right,
Boss
it's
man,
bowl
make that
season.
happen.
We're already up against the clock, but I want to fire off some of these maybe real bowl names. You guys tell me, bowl or bowl?
Let's go for it.
Bowl game or bowl S? The first one, Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Bull.
Bowl S?
Bull S, yeah.
Oh no, I say it's a bowl. I say that's a real bowl.
That's a stupid name.
Well, maybe stupid, but it's a real bowl game that's being
Hey!
played this year.
They're gonna cover some winner with Pop-Tarts, aren't they?
Pop-Tart
I hope
Bowl.
so. Yeah, the Pop-Tarts Bowl. That is going to be NC State versus Kansas State in Orlando, Florida. Nothing says Pop-Tarts like Orlando, right?
Oh, not at all.
NC State.
I think that used to be the Camping World Bowl that was played in Orlando because that was the stadium. So, the DraftKings Atlantic City Bowl.
That's a real thing.
Real bowl?
Yes.
Real bowl.
That is Bowl S, not a real bowl.
Kings doesn't have a bowl game?
No.
They will. They will. You just like previewed a real bowl coming out of like 26 or 27.
In due
So
time.
next year, right?
Yeah, exactly. Does Atlantic City even have a stadium?
Does Atlantic City still
Probably
exist?
not. Oh, they exist. Go up on the boardwalk. I think you can lose some money still. Yeah.
Yeah. Lose your life.
That reminds me of It's Always Sunny when they try to go to Atlantic City and, well, It's Always Sunny things happen in the
Yeah.
episode. The famous Toastery Bowl.
Oh, that sounds like bull. No, you know what? Hold on. Wait a minute. Famous toastery. I don't even know what that means, what a famous toastery is. I don't know if they have enough money for a bowl game, so I'm going to say bowl.
Now, I will give you a hint. There is the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. That's a classic.
Yes.
Right? But is there the famous Toastery Bowl?
Sounds just ridiculous enough to be real. Yes.
So you're going with
Yes.
it is a bowl game.
Yes, it
Jordan,
No, I'm gonna say Bolsh.
Bolsh on that. Well, buddy, you can go and catch Western Kentucky versus Old Dominion in Charlotte at the
Damn it.
famous Toastery Bowl December 18th.
What is the famous toastery?
Yeah, what is a
Do they-
toastery?
Do they specialize in toast?
I would hope.
Is there a whole menu
Is
full
it
of
like
different
Texas
toast?
toast? Or yeah, like every saw all kinds of toast.
Yeah.
Sourdough, English muffins, rye bread.
Oh,
That's
Wheat,
actually fire,
white.
depending on what else you're doing with it.
well, I know what we have to Google in the commercial break. What the
Toastery
hell is
Bowl.
famous Toastery? All right, let's see here. The ReliaQuest Bowl.
That's real.
ReliaQuest Bowl? What's a ReliaQuest? I'm going to say fake.
It's a crappy company.
Good
Yeah.
question. What is
That's a fake.
ReliaQuest? I don't know, but we're going to find out on January 1st when Wisconsin and LSU play in the ReliaQuest Bowl. That's
Damn.
a
I can't get it right,
January
boss.
1st game.
I can't. So that's it's a New Year's 6, New Year's 7 game?
Let's also back to the whole college football is dead thing we were talking about. Wisconsin versus LSU. Our Heisman Trophy winner is playing in the ReliaQuest Bowl.
ReliaQuest is a computer security company in Tampa, Florida. So there you go.
Honestly, even if that wasn't real, I would believe you. That's on par.
I can just make it up.
Our Heisman Trophy winner is in the ReliaQuest Bowl.
Yeah, that's
God.
the worst thing ever.
Oh, they'll be hitting that like
Worst thing ever.
100 times during the broadcast,
ReliaQuest.
Oh, Heisman Trophy
That's
winner
a
in the
terrible name,
ReliaQuest Bowl.
ReliaQuest. Come on, guys. We need a great. We need a great name. Let's put our heads together.
I would just die if they're like the bowl game package, like all the players get, is just like a bunch of software.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
just like-
You got to put it together yourself.
You guys got a Raspberry Pi with a 32-bit hard drive. God.
Here's some Norton's virus protection. All right, here's the next one. Crypto.com Bank Bowl.
Crypto.com Bank Bowl. Fake.
Yeah, that's
The
bullshit.
Bank Bowl?
The bank bowl.
I came up with that one.
Did
my
you?
Own.
Like,
Yeah,
what's
I was
a
hoping
bank
that-
bowl?
The bank bowl.
Crystal. So
Bud,
that-
what's the ReliaQuest Bowl?
yeah.
Well, first of all, crypto is
Crypto.com Bank? Like, where's that?
crypto is a medium, so we don't have to use banks. So
That's why.
Yeah.
that's
There
why
you go,
they're
Joe.
trying to do the, change the mindset. Like, oh, Crypto.com is a bank. I should look into that.
Yeah.
What's their APY? I mean, I'm just gonna throw this out. It's a real one, but don't judge me on that. When you have a bowl called the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, didn't know like Cheez-It and citrus went well together.
So
I
it's
guess
not
they're-
the orange bowl.
No, it's the Citrus Bowl. Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. Are they going to have a
couldn't have found
citrus flavored
cit-
Cheez-It?
I certainly hope. That sounds on par with Cheez-It.
Yeah, you're combining the sponsor and the name of the bowl. See, I thought it was either a sponsor, or it's just a specific special games like the Rose Bowl or the Cotton Bowl that get a sponsor and the name. This is weird.
All right. The Wasabi Fenway Bowl.
Wasabi Fenway, that's fake.
Wasabi
bullshit.
Fenway Bowl.
I want it to be real.
Is it?
I'm gonna say yes.
It is because it's being played at Fenway Park.
Yes!
Which is actually a
That's
cool
pretty cool.
tradition. Yeah.
I would love to watch that.
That's SMU versus Boston College. But yeah, I guess just Wasabi. I mean, I don't know who is
The company's just
who's
Wasabi?
the CEO of Wasabi?
Yeah.
Like just the plant
Yeah,
itself?
they have they have licensing to all Wasabi.
Yeah,
around.
what the hell?
It's gonna be a weird football game to watch though, because Fenway already has strange old seats from the 1910s.
Yeah.
so in weird directions. So that's gonna be a fun one, but I don't know.
And our last one, avocados from Mexico Cure Bowl.
That's a real thing.
Yeah, that's
Mexico
not bullshit,
Cure?
That's real.
Avocados from Mexico Cure Bowl. So the sponsor is the avocados from Mexico.
Avocados from Mexico.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's a real thing.
Real?
That's real.
Yeah.
And it is a real bowl
Yeah.
game. Yes, that is our last one, the avocados from Mexico. So I personally would like it if it was the avocados cure bowl. Like the
Yeah.
avocados like can cure
cure
illnesses.
everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Cure hunger.
I would be more in line for that. I mean, go and take a look at some of them though. We're gonna get the Duke's Mayo Bowl again, so someone's getting
Ugh.
doused in
Stop.
some mayo.
Stop.
I could have sworn I saw that they're gonna do something along the lines of that with another bowl game where someone's getting dumped with maybe avocados, maybe guacamole.
Well, see, this should have been like a Hidden Valley Ranch thing 2 decades ago,
Gross.
but they just missed the boat on it.
Ranch it up.
Yeah.
Oh, my
I'd be
God.
so
Blue
angry to be
cheese.
doused in ranch or
That's
mayo.
disgusting. I love blue cheese, but
Ugh.
even I, watching somebody with like 2 bucket loads of blue cheese being poured on them, I think I might
So,
get very nauseous.
I got to be honest, fellas. I know we have to break.
If you had
but
to choose a condiment,
I looked
Probably
up
ranch.
famous toastery,
Oh.
Charlotte, North Carolina, or
Yeah.
that was where the game is. But the famous toastery has a bunch of locations, and I'll be honest, the food looks fire
Yeah?
over here. Yeah, they
Shot's a
serve
fan.
breakfast and lunch all day.
Oh.
Some of their breakfast items include a runner omelet, which is egg whites, roasted turkey, roasted veggies, and brie. Could be really good if you want to watch your figure. The Southwestern omelet with chorizo, tomatoes, roasted peppers, and cheddar. Like, there's a bunch of wins here. The Greek omelet, let's
Yeah.
go.
Dirty good combos.
got a quick dad joke for you before we break. Man goes into a diner on Christmas. He's by himself. He asks the waitress, "Can I just get an eggs Benedict, please?" So she brings out the eggs Benedict, and it's on a hubcap as a plate. And it's not a plate; it's a hubcap. He's like, "What's the deal? What's going on with this?" She says, "There's no plate like Chrome for the Hollandaise."
Oh, good God.
Oh, it's hilarious, Joe.
We'll wrap up
Funny.
football Sunday.
Crack up the kids' basketball, basketball practice with that one.
We'll wrap up football Sunday next year on 1080 The Fan.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, part of our tractor lineup rated
the show, but reading some off of these actual bowl games of the bowl season to Rashad. How about this one? I'm sure this will get these fan bases going at UCLA and Boise State. Congratulations, you're going to play in the Starco Brands LA Bowl hosted by Gronk.
The only thing that you feel good about is the hosted by Gronk
part. Yeah, I might get to meet Rob.
I'm going to meet Rob Gronkowski. I'm probably going to do some beer bongs because if he's hosting it, it's going to be dope. There's probably going to be like some strippers and, Gronk went to Arizona. Yeah,
Gronk knows how to party.
Gronk knows how to kick it. Like if there's one athlete,
I hope the party's like leading up to the game. Yeah,
it's like I've always said, I'm a big Patriots fan, and so people ask me, would you rather meet Gronk or Brady? Man, Gronk all day. Like
Brady would make you work out.
Seriously, Brady's not going to be a fun hang. He doesn't seem like just a chill hang. Like, oh man,
you should really try this wheatgrass smoothie.
Yeah, only drunk
go
Brady.
Bang Arena Shayak, and then I'll hang out with you later.
Yeah, Gronk seems like, man, we're going to start hanging out. Like as soon as you walk up on Gronk, hey man, beer bong, do this. Like,
well, he's hosted, I believe, Super Bowl parties the last few years. Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah,
so that's a big hot ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm all for that game. I don't like the long name, but you said hosted by Gronk, and I'm all in.
I mean, the Beavers are playing in the Sun Bowl. That is the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
That's still a classic game.
Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, that's stereo. So just Tony Tiger.
Literally Tony the Tiger
is paying for this. He's putting the bill for this thing.
Tony approached Frosted Flakes about the possible sponsorship. And like, whoa, Tony.
Yeah, whoa.
If you want to.
The Beavers are great.
Yeah, no, we're gonna.
I'm broke. I can't afford this.
Yeah, he's gonna be in a suit. It's gonna be that's trash. I don't like that.
The Quick Lane Bowl.
What's a quick lane?
I don't know.
That's an oil
tire?
change. Oil change or tires.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. Listen, I think we need to stop just giving sponsors bowl games.
We have the Goodyear
to pay.
pickleball shoe bowl game.
Joe,
the Skechers pickleball bowl.
Yeah, if some company called you up, you wouldn't care what their name was if they said, I want to give you $50,000 for spots on your station. You'd be like, cool, what's your name? Great.
Yeah.
It
Viagra,
could be
you
Barfoot.
say? Yes.
And you'd be like, sure.
Gosh, I'm upset that the Bahamas Bowl is no longer. I was really hoping that Oregon would get a berth to the Bahamas Bowl one day.
So
I understand that it is I understand that is the MAC versus Conference USA, but I was still holding out hope that somehow they'd give that Pac-12 berth to Oregon. Maybe a Big 10 berth in the future, but
fingers crossed.
Maybe
one can hope. Considering the way college football goes, it's not
far off.
Yeah, exactly. We might be closer than you think.
All right, Football Sunday is in the bag. Thank you all for listening. Rashad, thank you.
My guy.
Jordan Schultz, thank you.
My guy.
Love you
and
guys.
thank you for listening, watching out there. We will catch you all next Sunday for more football and plenty of other sports stuff. Peace, y'all.
During the Jeep Wrap Up the Year sales event, well-qualified current FCA lessees get a low-mileage lease on the 2024 Jeep Wrangler Willys 4xe for $359 a month for 36 months with $3,979 due at signing. Tax, title, license extra. No security deposit required. Call 1-888-925-JEEP for details. Requires dealer contribution and lease through Stellantis Financial. Current vehicle must be registered at least 30 days prior to lease. Extra